you couldn't make it and you need to rewatch this video, we are just going over 6.8-2, which is a follow-up to our assignment on Friday. We are utilizing the same mortgage calculator, and there's just we're gonna a little bit play with it in terms of finding maximum optimizations or maximum amounts. So the idea here is, of course, we have a down payment, $50,000. We know how much we can spend, $3,500. All right, so that's kind of like our budget, how much we can spend a month. Um, we're looking to buy a house, and the houses cost typically around $550,000 to $850,000 in the place where we're living. We were able to get a 3.89% interest rate, and so that question now becomes, okay, so what can I afford once you have that? And remember, we're taking into account that the idea here is that we're living in Boston, so we're using a Boston zip code, which means that we have property tax. So every year you have to pay taxes on your home's value to the state, because you're living on this. You own the property in the state. You pay the state some taxes back for that privilege, in essence. And then, of course, you're going to have your home insurance, and both of those will have impact in terms of the final month that you can count. So not just your mortgage will typically includes the monthly payment for the home loan plus those two fees. So we can afford $3,500 a month, and so we're going to go to the calculator. We're going to open it up, and now I'm not going to adjust the money for you. All right, you would do the same things that I'm about to do. I'm not going to adjust it for you. Come on, it just takes a little bit to load. Just to make sure, you might want to hit the advanced options and make sure you're in like 02136, 02135. If it says, big thing is that you want to be in an 02 zip code, which means you're right here in the greater Boston area. So right here, for example, and you're changing this, if the down payment was $104,000, which is 20%, ideally you have a 20% down payment. In order to get most of the best interest rates, you need typically about a 20% down payment. Doesn't mean you won't get a loan, but sometimes the interest rate might be a little bit higher as a result. We're going to go with a 30-year fixed loan. And you're going to change the interest rate to what the problem says of 3.89%. So if you're following with me right now, 3.89%, and change the down payment to $50,000. Now, what this says is if I bought a house for $520,000, my monthly payment would be $3,243, which means I could afford that. So you're going to just use the slider here, and you're going to keep sliding this until you get to $3,500. Now remember, this is different because the down payment and interest rate are not with the problem in the assignment say. So if you just change those two numbers and do exactly what I do, you'll find the answer. And it says to the nearest $500. So I'm going to go, seems to be right around there. So my answer here would be $788,000, 00. So I would round that down to, so I would, right there. Up, and it says still 3501. So actually I have to go down by 500. So I'll make that a 7, 5. And so the answer to this problem, if these were the values, would be $787,500. All right. Now, as I noted, that includes the actual loan the payment is $2,605, while $99 goes to home insurance, and in this case, $794 would be property taxes. It's quite a bit. Basically, property taxes are an end of year thing, but we are taking that into account because we're educated. We're going to talk about taxes soon, and so we'll just divide that by 12 because we know what our property taxes are going to be. So we're going to have that and start paying that early on so that we don't have a big, $10,000 payment at the end of the year that we have to make on property taxes, which this was what this closely comes out to be. Even though you own the home, you still have to pay $10,000 to the state every year if your home was valued at 787,500. Now, this is something a lot of people do when they reappraise their houses and their houses go up in value, which is a good thing. If you're selling the home, this is a very good thing for the value of your home to go up. But if the value of your home goes up, that means you have to pay more property taxes. Now, there's different laws in terms of that you have to get it reevaluated in certain instances because the state wants more money. But do note that higher value of home prices do mean more property taxes. But that's a good thing if you're going to sell it before you maybe even have to pay those property taxes. So once again, you'll change the down payment amount. Right now it's set at 20%. You'll just change that to $50,000. Right now it's set to 20%. So for example, in this case, you would have had to pay $157,500 of a down payment in order to take out the mortgage. And so forth. You can ignore everything else that's in there, so just make sure the zip code is correct. So that's what you're doing on the first problem. How much you should pay over the course of the mortgage. So if you check the amortization schedule and you go to and it'll show you how much. If you go to the very bottom of it, you got to go all the way to the bottom, 30 years from now. Go all the way to the bottom. It'll say how much interest you end up paying, how much you will pay in total for the house. So in this case, you will pay $938,033.74. So plus your down payment. In that case, that's how much you'll pay in total. Okay, so it would be that plus in this case, $100 and some thousand. So the loan we had to take out was $630,000, and then it ended up being $308,000 in interest, which isn't that bad. It's only about a third or it's only about half. Paying half in a mortgage is not that bad, especially when it's a 30-year, and that's because the interest rate is so low. This is about, this interest rate was like 2 point something, which is about what the interest rates are now. So the difference between buying with a low interest rate and a high interest rate can mean a difference in hundreds of thousands of dollars. And this is why you want to make sure you get good credit. This is why you want to make sure you understand how interest works, because the difference between a 3% interest rate and a 5% interest rate even could mean a difference of a couple $200,000 to $300,000 in paying back the loan. So when does the pay off? So you're going to look at when's the final payment. So once again, you're looking at that amortization, and you're looking in terms of when that last payment is. So this one would be December, or of course 30 years. So December 21st, because it's a 30-year interest rate, right? And then what happens if you could pay $500 more? All right. So this is the amortization schedule. So what happens if you can make $500 more towards this payment? You can add an extra monthly payment of $500. And when you scroll all the way back down, you'll see the difference in regards to how much you'll pay it. So you'll pay your house sooner. And you'll save on interest. So how much is the interest? So before it was like $308,000 of interest. In this example, you pay your house off 6 years earlier, and you end up saving about $78,000 by paying an extra $500 a month. Over the course, you end up saving about $78,000. Just take the difference. Finally, so what year, when does that get paid off? And how could she, so that's a good thing. You're going to save $78,000. Think about that. So if you can do it, you should do it. All right. So what are some strategies for saving money? This is like a review. Finally, if you can afford an extra $500,000, why not just buy a house that's more expensive? All right. So should she buy a more expensive house, or should she pay off the cheaper house in less time? So think about that. I just want to know your thoughts. She should go with the The more, if she can afford $4,000 monthly payments, then she should buy a more expensive house because, or even though she can make a $4,000 monthly payment, she might want to stick to the $3,500 because, looking for your responses. That's the assignment for today. I'm going to send you into breakout rooms in case you have any questions on how to do this. But because I'm going to run this like an asynchronous day,